When I walk in, every ancestor move. Every cell in my body got an ancient groove. I ain't searching for truth, I embody the proof. You look at me, you see the lineage. Every obstacle shift when I rise in.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another round of My Patriot Report Live. I am Ritwan Hill, the bridge connecting next generation to federal contracting. And with me, I have the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Walter Cotton III. And if you don't know who he is by now, you better ask AI. Mr. Cotton, how you doing?
I'm well, thank you. I'm well. I'm kind of, settling into my role as the peace ambassador. I've been looking for a slogan for my office, and I've been duly seduced and impressed by that slogan. The urban philosopher Gil Scott Heron quoted back in the day when he talked about peace. He said, "Peace is not the absence of war; it's the absence of the rumors of war, and the threats of war, and the preparation for war." So I'm settling into my new office, my young brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What does that mean? What does being a peace ambassador mean to you? Like, what is the foundation for you? What does that mean to you?
That's a really good question, because when Dr. Mosley first offered me that, I guess, appointment, if you will, I was reluctant to accept it because, I take titles seriously, right? If you're going to give me a label or title, I want to live up to it. And the idea of peace was kind of born in me from a belief that we can live without war. Right. We are a species that actually gravitates towards cooperation as opposed to competition and conquest. And so as I look out at the landscape of the idea of peace, I imagine a world where there's no more war, where there's no need for war. I believe that we are approaching a point of awareness and understanding that'll accommodate an idea like that. So when I was offered that office, I said, man, I could potentially use that office to promote that concept or idea. And along comes this inappropriate conflict, which I think gives us an opportunity to shine the light of sensibility right on our worldview, and potentially represent the last conflict for the American people. I mean, I think that we're in a position, we're at a time where we can imagine a better environment. We can imagine better believable dreams where there is no more war, and therefore I'm promoting my office as it's in pursuit of the last veteran.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, I want to dive into that topic, but before we were mentioning about the war, what's going on, and Senator Holland and a couple other senators, they just introduced the war power resolution yesterday, right? From my understanding, it's a 60-day time window from what was it, February 28th or 29th, leap year, I don't know. But from February, the end of February to April 29th, that's a 60-day window where they have to either approve a resolution or they have to stop what they're doing. Is that correct?
So what I think you are referring to is the authority that the executive branch has to cause the Department of Defense to pursue any type of a action. And based on my understanding, there is a finite window through which the executive branch can operate without Congress's authorization, without Congress's authority. And so the conventional wisdom is that time period is approximately 60 days, and the president is currently operating within that 60-day window for the authority that he's employing in Iran.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Now, my question is, okay, Congress hasn't necessarily been doing their job when it comes to reining this in. So let's say 60 days hit and they fail to come up with a war power resolution.
Well, let's not say 60 days hit, right? Let's
Okay.
not say that, right? Let's say what needs to be said, right? Let's say the uncomfortable stuff out loud, right? Because what we're looking at is a situation that has made every American less safe, right? We're looking at a situation where the answer to whether or not the leadership in this nation was suffering from the Peter Principle, was promoted to inefficiency or not, that question has been asked and answered by this final action, which has put us in a position where, let's look at the economics of it. Based on the current estimate, we have a $51 billion expenditure on an action that has not given us a better outcome. Let me say that another way, okay? We were better off before this particular event took place. We had a better agreement in place. We had a better relationship. We were safer as a nation. The world economy was in a better place before this action took place. We as a nation are $51 billion out. We got $51 billion out of our bank account that could have gone to pay for much needed things here. In addition to that, right, we have facilitated a $1 to $2 trillion global impact that has caused our friends, our allies, and other nations to maybe have a jaundiced eye, maybe look at America in a different way. And so we are looking at a situation right now where the executive branch is out of control, and Congress being mute on this issue requires us to get their attention, requires us to wake them up and cause them to do what our forefathers intended when they gave us this constitutional republic, when they gave us the Constitution. It requires the Congress to rein in the executive branch, right? To bring order where we have a tremendous amount of disorder.
Yeah. So is all the responsibility on Congress, or do we as we the people, do we have a part to play in this, in helping Congress rein them in?
We have a huge part to play in that. We have a responsibility to make sure that we are clear and unambiguous in our communication into Congress about what our interests are, right? And under yesterday's, authority, right, we needed a surrogate, right? Like we needed an intercessor to go between us and the Most High. And those surrogates were lobbyists, right? That, spoke directly to Congress, whispered in their ear on behalf of the American people. In today's environment, we don't need a surrogate. We have the opportunity to talk directly to the Congress. And we need to directly communicate to the Congress that their feckless behavior has got to change. It absolutely has to change, because them being asleep at the wheel, or them playing partisanism, left versus right, has put us in a position where we have our fraternity members, and I get challenged about this. We have 10,000 at a minimum of our fraternity members sitting out in a boat in the heat, suffering because of ill-conceived strategies and ideas. We need to do something about it. And that's where we, the people, need to utilize our ability to communicate directly to Congress and say to them, listen, an error doesn't become a mistake unless you don't correct it, right? And so the fact that you came back from your vacation and you haven't immediately reined this guy in, that's an error. We can correct that. And in order for us to do that, we need to have a pathway to communicate. Thank you, Mr. Hill, for bringing up the website that we've created that empowers our true patriot with the ability to communicate our message directly to Congress. And so if you surf out to the website that you're going to see floating across your screen, it's going to bring you to this particular community of practice that we've created, where if you click that Contact Congress link, it's going to take you to a centralized place where all you've got to do is put your demographic information in and hit submit, and it's going to bring back your representatives. And you can write a message to them that we are encouraging you to deliver that says, we simply need you to show your commitment to the American people. We need you to show your commitment to the American way of life by supporting two patriotic pieces of legislation. One of those pieces of legislation is the Contract Our Veterans Act. Very, very simply, we need this passed before the end of the fiscal year. And the other one is one that's designed to provide access to capital for our veterans, to give our federal credit unions relief. Our simple approach is to monitor the co-sponsorship of this bill. This is how it's done. It's how the political process works. We, the people, have a conversation with our Congress. Our Congress takes that conversation and it turns it into bills, policies. Those bills get voted out of committee down to the floor, and they go to the president's desk for signature. In this particular instance, what we have is a group of co-sponsors that have currently signed up to the bills. Those new co-sponsors who sign up to the bill, and I need our Congress men and women and our senators to hear this, those new co-sponsors who sign up to this bill are going to be monitored by the veteran community. And those that are there when the bill is passed, they're going to receive our love and our favor during the midterm. Those are the ones that we're going to work with as we approach 2028 to make sure that we have both a Congress and an executive branch that support and promotes the will of the people of these United States of America. And so, very simply put, this long-winded answer to that very short question, what can we, the American people, do? We, the American people, can go out to that website. We can communicate to Congress, and we can make certain that they pass these two pieces of legislation to demonstrate to us that they haven't been hijacked, right? That they do still promote that which is of the highest and best use of the American people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I want to give a shout out to one of the new co-sponsors, Representative Barr from Kentucky. He just signed as a co-sponsor yesterday to the bill. So thank you guys. Thank you, Patriots, veterans, for you reaching out to your Congress and getting, this is showing exactly what we need, that momentum we need. See, when you say something, it produces results. So guys, keep reaching out, because this is only going to benefit you guys as veterans, and it's going to stimulate your economy, which is what the whole mission is about, is stimulating the economies and veterans taking charge.
And unlike what the handlers would like you to believe, right? Congress is responsive to the will of the people, right? The lobbyists, the current system that's in place would like you to believe that you got to pass through their doors to get anything done in the political environment. Au contraire, mon frere, that's not true. You have direct access to your political machine. And we're showing you that, you don't have to pay attention to the man behind the curtain, right? You don't have to pay attention. We, the people, have power. And this exercise we're using to do two things. One, we want to see which of the members of Congress are really with us, because we're asking them to participate in a patriotic action that doesn't cost them anything. Those that participate, those that show us that they're with us, will receive our favor in the upcoming midterm election. And I'm going to put the big talking stick down right there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, I want to shed some light on our veterans, right? Because there's articles saying that veteran entrepreneurship is in a decline, which doesn't make sense to me given all the advantages that we have, not just from an entrepreneurship standpoint, but you have agricultural loans. We just have favoritism just in general, and I think maybe if it's not awareness, it may just be a lack of willingness, or it could be what that article that we saw about the transition assistance program. Maybe you guys just don't know what you don't know. So, we want to shed that light and spread the fact that this is an opportunity that is no excuses for you you should have no excuses at all, guys. Like, we're out here spreading the good word. You can reach out to us where you can get this information. We have a community of practice. Join the Ability to SDVO Command Center where we could have those conversations in the watering hole, and we could talk about transition assistance program, VNRE self-employment track, vet franchises, opportunity zones. It's a whole universe out here for veterans, and we're underutilizing it. So we need to get
Hill, out. I really appreciate the passion with which you're delivering that message, because that I've been in this advocacy game for over 20 years, right? And I've had more passionate speeches like that to a hopeful veteran audience than I can shake a stick at. And so I empathize with what you just said, and I appreciate it. But I think that we have a different motivation in this season, right? I think that the impact of inflation, right, and its ability to squeeze the wallet is going to force those people that are comfortable, right? Maybe they do have their retirement check coming in, and they're a double dipper, right? Because they got the job at the post office, or they got the job at the city or federal facility, and they're pretty comfortable, but they're part of the middle class. They're part of the middle K, and that's the part of the economy that's being decimated by this inflation. And so if you don't get out of the mustard today, right, this inflation is going to chase you and your family into the understanding that Mr. Hill is trying to share with you. And so, Mr. Hill, I've taken a new position on motivating these people, because, my mama once taught me a very valuable lesson. She said, "Baby, what do you tell someone with two black eyes? Nothing, because you've already told them twice." And so in this particular instance, what we have is a situation where the landscape for the vetrepreneur has been made as rich as it is ever going to get. And all you need right now is the know-how to make a demand call against what we've identified as a more than $1.2 trillion wealth transfer that's moving through the ether. But it's not going to come and jump into your lap. It's not going to come through this screen, and nobody's going to give it to you. So you're going to have to go out and work for it. And what we're doing is we're trying to carry the guide on for you, right? We're trying to point you in a direction that puts you in a position to allow you to contribute to the security, to the revitalization of the economy. And Mr. Hill just brought something up that we changed, because this was the Service Disabled Veteran Owned Small Business Command Center until yesterday. Yesterday, I made the decision to make this the last Veterans Command Center, because I believe that we have the ability to see the last veteran. We have the ability to shake the last veteran's hand. And oh, by the way, for those of you who don't know it, it was actually the intent of our forefathers that we not have a permanent army. So we want to put the country on the trajectory of what Benjamin Franklin asked when the young lady asked the question, "Mr. Franklin, what kind of government do you have?" We want to put this republic right back on the trajectory of being that kinder, gentler nation, because in many instances we have absolutely no justification for the strategies that we've been driving other than the invisible hand of big business. But if you're a veteran and you want to get into the community, you want to get into the process, we urge you to surf out to the Last Veterans Command Center and join, become a member. Costs you nothing, but we need all hands on deck if we're going to make America safe again. And I say that, and I want to make sure that you're clear about this, because, we're Americans, man. We ain't scared of nobody or nothing. This isn't about us being afraid of anybody. This is about us not getting stupid human awards, right? This is about us not being unfair, right? This is about us finally waking up and recognizing that, an error doesn't become a mistake unless you don't correct it, right? So at some point, right, we've got to say, I'm sorry. We've got to say, excuse me. We've got to say, please. Just because we're the biggest in the community, right, doesn't mean that we have the ability to accuse you of having weapons of mass destruction and come into your country and blow it to smithereens and leave, never finding any weapons of mass destruction, and not apologize to you and your people. Right? There comes a point where we need to hold ourselves accountable for the behavior and actions that our leadership takes. And if our administrations are taking actions that are not within the interest of we the people, we live in a constitutional republic and we can do something about it, right? We can cause them to change. And in this particular instance, I think that we have a group of actions that are coming out of our executive branch that are not consistent with the will of we the people. And it's time that we draw our line in the sand, and we do something about it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I also want to share one more site, the NY Elite SDVOB .org website. If you want to support the movement, you support everything that we're saying, we ask that you join us in this good fight that we have, that Mr. Cotton been fighting for decades now. And also support us by scanning the barcode and donating, so we could keep pushing the message and keep pushing these rights for veterans that we definitely deserved and earned. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
And on that note, guys, I'm Ratwan Hill, and that is the Mr. Walter Cotton III. And we'll catch y'all tomorrow.